Hello and welcome back. Okay, you've been promised Thunderbird 2 and you're going to get Thunderbird 2. So here we are as the box. The kit is by Bandai and the box is about the same size as the Thunderbird 3 kit. Now, I think this kit also dates to around 1992. And you see on the side there it's got obviously stuff in Japanese and some photographs of a kit that someone's built that may or may not resemble what you'll get. There you go. So we'll pay attention to that picture. We're going to try and replicate that later. So as you can see, it's got the three sort of elevator cars, platforms, which you remember supporting the aircraft that was trying to crash, or did crash, in an episode of Thunderbirds. So there's a nice view of Thunderbird 2. And Virgil. Virgil relaxed. Virgil intense. Okay, so we're just going to open the box eventually. Okay, so as you can see, you get 3 sprues, or 4 sprues technically, because there's a red sprue as well. The kit's basically already in the Thunderbird 2 green, so the idea being you don't have to paint it, although in reality you should. Okay, so the red things are the engine nozzles and the legs to support Thunderbird 2 when you're lowering the cargo container. And obviously this is the main cargo pod as well. So as you can see, the main fuselage of Thunderbird 2 comes in 2 halves. So it's like horizontally split rather than being vertically split like a lot of aircraft are. So as you can see, pretty much you get the whole structure of the aircraft in one go basically, and you get a nice big sheet of stickers. And I must admit, I would have preferred Bandai to have done these with decals, water transfers, but stickers is obviously easier. Now you can also see there's some metal parts in this as well. We'll get to that in a second. So the metal parts are for the little elevator platform vehicles, and they're for the axles. Self-explanatory. One of them was a bit rusty actually. You may also notice as well the bags are stapled shut rather than being welded or glued or whatever. So that gives you an idea of how old the kit is. So these are the wheels for the elevator platforms. And these are the sort of stubs of the legs that they can plug into the bottom of the Thunderbird 2. Now this is the parts for the elevator cars, the floor of the container, and the sort of wings to hold up. I'm not quite sure what these things are meant to be. There's engines of some sort, aren't they? Alright, so as you can see, you don't get an awful lot of parts, and most of the parts in the kit are for those elevator cars, elevator platforms. So you get the usual set of instructions. So there you go, just study our details carefully. And don't forget to throw away your empty sacks. And of course we now have cement. Okay, so the usual sort of numbered parts layout on the sprues. And if you see seal mentioned on these kits, they really mean sticker. Alright, so you can see like the what it should look like again. It's the same pictures that are on the side of the box. Right, and so our first steps are going to be to assemble that engine rack that goes up on the vertical stabilisers and glue that onto the upper half of Thunderbird 2. Okay, and then we glue Thunderbird 2 together fully, put those engines on, then we assemble our legs. You see now the legs are designed to fold back, but I'm not going to glue them on, so I can just take them off because I think that's more flexible. And it's just showing you how to assemble the cargo pod. Don't glue the door shut. And the elevator platform vehicles will only fit in sideways. I've already experimented with this. And again, suggest using a hammer to knock your wheels on, which I did do actually. Tried pressing them on, couldn't get them to go on, so I ended up using a little toffee hammer. And this is where all our stickers will go. So it's fairly straightforward. Okay, you put your elevator cars in the pods, and then you can put it into Thunderbird 2. Now, as I say, I didn't glue the legs on because I thought they really spoiled the look of it if you wanted to have the thing in flight, if you know what I mean. So there you go. Because the legs don't telescope or anything like that, they just bend. Right. Shall we get to it? Right, so I've just cut the parts off the sprue. I'm just trimming off any flash or bits of stuff that shouldn't be there. And just doing a quick test fit as well. And then we'll glue it together. So it's the old Tamiya cement, which, as I said before, I think this stuff lasts forever, unless you spill it or something. Because you do get quite a lot of glue in the bottle, it has to be said. Now, a lot of the parts are actually quite a loose fit, so you have to hold them. You know, there's no real little pins to locate anything or whatever. They just kind of rely on the tackiness of the glue to hold them, basically, until they actually set properly. And these parts do drift apart quite easily, so I think I ended up putting a rubber band around them to hold them still. Okay, so the next stage is to glue the two halves of Thunderbird 2 together, and in the packet with the two halves is actually the sticker sheet, so I'll just have a quick look at that. Okay, we'll just get these separated. Now there's a bit of detail on the model, it's not particularly large, and for some reason they've put the 2 all over the place on it where you put the stickers, so the stickers never get to sit flush because of those raised 2s. It's a bit of a dinky thing to do, come to think of it. Okay, so we're going to glue our vertical engine elements onto the back of Thunderbird 2, so I'm just putting some glue in the right places, but obviously not on camera because I'm an idiot. Actually, it has to be said, working around the camera is right pain. There are times you think, I just want to build this, and you know, I can't be bothered about filming it sometimes because I'm just getting so into what I'm doing. Okay, so that's starting to take shape. Again, the fit is very loose, so really you need to clamp and elastic band and tape everything before it moves off on you when it's setting. Now we're going to assemble the container pod. So I'll just get the bag open. This is content, me pulling staples out of a plastic bag. Not quite sure why I was bothering to do that, but there you go. Anyway, so you can see the pod's just in 2 halves, and in the same bag are our legs and our engine exhausts. I think if I turn that up eventually, you'll see. There you go, made in 1992, Bandai, made in Japan. And there's nothing else inside the other mold. Okay, so our next step is to go and glue the 2 halves of Thunderbird 2 together and put the red exhausts on the end because they kind of hold the ends together. It's fairly straightforward. Now the front of the 2 halves at the bow will require like holding together or clamping or something because they just are a bit warped. And as you can see, the internal fit of the seams isn't very consistent with the external fit. And I don't know if that's intentional because you'll find that the container is a bit of a friction fit inside Thunderbird 2. The next step is to make the telescopic legs. So they have like a sort of knuckle joint, which is what I'm holding in my hands, which is 2 pieces of plastic, into which you put your red leg that can bend. Now frankly, I don't think it's worthwhile making this feature. I think you're better off just making the legs solid and do not glue it into the fuselage so you can actually pull the legs out at the bottom if you don't need them, if you're going for a flight. Right, so I've made up the 4 legs. So basically just glue the little green bit together carefully so it doesn't glue the legs solid if you want that folding feature. If you're not bothered about it, just glue the legs solid because you don't need this feature, to be quite honest. Right, so here you can see how you can glue the legs on, but you don't need to because they're quite like a firm fit into the bottom anyway. You can pull them out if you don't need them. So there you go, so that's just showing you the leg. So you sort of kind of pull it and then it'll bend. Alright, so as I say, like, you don't want to be flying along with these things dangling out the bottom, even if they can bend. It just spoils the look of it. Right, so our next step is going to be putting that container together. So we're just extracting the parts for the container now. So that's the floor. Just trimming off bits of flash. There is quite a bit of flash on the kit actually. And this is obviously the roof of the rest of the container. And then we're going to get the sort of inner deck out. So this has like a slope on it, so basically the elevator vehicles will just fall out of it. But it also means there's less space inside the container. So these are all the pieces just been test fitted now. And then we'll just glue it together. So obviously don't glue the door. Now how many people have done that over the years, I wonder. And then glue the container. Shell up. Splash it all over, as the advert used to say. As I dropped it, I drop everything. Okay, we'll give that a squeeze for a bit, make sure the door still flaps. Okay, so now we can actually just try a test fitting of the door. Kind of clicks shut, but if you give it a shake, it opens really easily. It's kind of weird. If you force it shut, but it just falls open. Alright, and you can see straight out of the box you get a nice firm fit of Thunderbird 2 around the container. That's not too bad, is it? We're on our way, if I don't drop it. Not bad at all. So we just need to embellish this now. Now we're going to do the elevator vehicles, and there's 3 of them, and they have 6 wheels each, 2 sort of springy things and a platform. So I'm going to assemble one of them. And yes, I just went and assembled them. I didn't think about painting them first. That's because I just got carried away. That's my excuse. So these are quite crude representations. I have no idea what the scale of this kit is meant to be. But there you go. You see, it's just me whipping out, whipping the wheels off, and then I'll run them on a little sand pad just to get the burrs off the sprues, off the components. But that's basically most of the bits for the elevator car. Okay, so we'll just get the sort of spring supporter things and the actual platform. And it is smooth, but you just get that horrible sort of whitening effect of the plastic where it's been cut or sanded. Okay, and that's basically all the bits for the one car. So here I'm just gluing the platform on, gluing on the sort of springy things. Bit of tweezers and some of that, you know, that very runny cement that sort of runs into little holes and stuff. It's very handy. Just trying to get them to stay put. They do kind of click in actually. Okay, we'll just glue the platform on. Sorry about the high speed, just otherwise it'll take all night. And there you go. So now we have the 3 cars. We have our container. The wheels do run. They're a bit rough. And you have to put them into the container sideways. If you put it any other way in, they don't really fit. Okay, and the next one. And the next one. And then we can shut the door. Oh, you see what I mean? They just fall out. Stay. There you go. Okay, and then you just slot Thunderbird 2 on top, and you're ready for action. So here I'm just painting in some details. So I've already painted in the windows, just using black Tamiya acrylic. I'm using a bit of red Tamiya acrylic to do the red for around the engine intakes. I think I'll put 3 coats on eventually. And I used Tamiya metal, I think it's called, to do the details on the engine things at the back. Now for the little elevator platform cars, I painted the bodies orange, then the wheels black with silver hubs, and then painted the platforms themselves black as well. The orange paint reacted, so admittedly it was quite old paint. As I said, the older acrylics just don't keep as well as the enamels did. So they've just put a few coats on. I know it looks like I'm making a real mess, but actually this is the first of several coats these are getting. Now the main engine exhausts at the back of Thunderbird 2, they've been painted black, which has been rubbed in with my finger, so it goes into the little holes, the pepper pot holes in the backs of the exhausts. You'll see it in a bit. And then a layer of silver has been put over the top of it to make it look more 3D. So okay, so at this point now we're going to start putting the stickers on. The stickers are the same type as the one on the Bandai Thunderbird 3 kit, and they can be quite hard to get off the backing sheet. So I'm just using the instructions to work out where to put things, and a pair of tweezers, and then just rub them on as best I can. It's annoying because where you're putting them there's already a raised detail. Yes, I did put that number 2 in the wrong place. I did fix that later. Okay, so I'm just trying to free another Thunderbird 2. And if you hear the sound, you'll hear swearing occasionally. That one came off quite easily, but there's a few of them where I was just starting to doubt I'd get them off the sheet. There you go. And just put them on. Job's a good one. Actually, apart from getting them off the sheet, the stickers are quite easy to put on, so, you know, like you can imagine anyone being quite happy at this stage, getting the stickers on and bringing it to life. Most of the stickers, it's fairly obvious where they go, but there's a couple it's not so obvious, and that's why you'll see me refer to the box every now and again, just to try and work out what's meant to go where. These ones around the engines very fiddly. If you could see me, my tongue's out probably. Trying to get them to just go. It's just to get them to go and then make that nice, keep it nice and straight all the way around. And you always end up doing it in such a way as to leave yourself no room. But there you go. That's life. There you go, I think we've got it on. Just trying to get the air bubbles out of it, I think. Now this is the black stripe that goes at the front. Now I don't know if you've ever seen The Martian with Matt Damon, but there's a bit where he cracks the helmet of his spacesuit and it's leaking air, and he gets a bit of gaffer tape to try and fix it. And the instant he gets a bit of gaffer tape off the roll, it wraps around his finger and gets stuck, and I think we've all been there. Trying to get things to stick and unstick when you want them to. There you go. I think I almost did it first time. I think I just had to readjust the last little bit. So you're watching someone with tweezers. This is quality content, this is. There you go. Because the surface isn't completely round all the way, it doesn't quite, you know, make a perfect contact all the way around. Now we're putting the yellow markings on. I'd already done the one that goes around the top of the Thunderbird 2. Main reason being, it was just so fiddly to do, I couldn't do it in front of the camera, I had to sort of like do the thing on my lap. Okay, and then I'm just working out square peg round hole, as to where these transfers are meant to go. Because the numbers and locations aren't quite right. That's my excuse. And we just repeat that for all the wingtips. Okay, so the last little thing to do is these little white squares that go just ahead of the engine intakes. I think you might see me refer to the box again. I can't remember if I did that or I've just been referring to the box. Put those on. This is one of those moments where I was just cursing the camera, because I'm doing this with the camera between me and it, so I'm peering over the camera when I'm doing this. Okay, then we get the other one. Just trying to get it started. It's fiddly. There you go. And we just put it on this side. Right, so that's all the stickers done. There's no stickers on the container itself, which I was a bit disappointed about. Okay, so just a quick look around what we've got so far. So we've got our Thunderbird 2. Our transfers. So it's looking quite presentable. Now you notice on the engines here, can you see how I've painted them? It's actually metal, it's not silver. And I'd rubbed black paint into the holes to give it a bit of depth. Okay, so here's the container pod, and here are our platform cars, elevator cars, ready to go into the pod. So this is everything you get in the kit basically. This is your result, and here are the legs. You may have noticed in the one Fireball XL5 video, my thumb was silver from spraying these. Now originally I'd made these legs up to be able to bend as per their design, but I just thought making the knuckles bend was ridiculous, didn't really work, so I glued them solid, and I'm not gluing them to the underside of Thunderbird 2, I'm just going to push them in. So they're quite a snug fit anyway. In fact, they're so snug, one of them doesn't go in, so I might resort to using a bit of trimming on that in a moment. So see, the others will go in okay. There you go. So there I've just trimmed that leg with a knife, and now it goes in okay. So there you go, so that's our Thunderbird 2 on its telescopic legs. This falls out now. Ah dear. It's one of those days, isn't it? Right, so shall we try recreating the scene of the prototype model on the side of the box? Let's find the box and see if we can recreate that scene. See what you think. Right, well that's not come out too bad, has it? It looks very like the model shot on the side of the box as well. So here we've got our mobile platforms coming out of our container, and the Thunderbird 2 is standing on its telescopic legs, which I think are a bit too tall, but won't be picky. So as you can see, push the platforms into the container sideways. Although in the actual episode, I think the platforms are actually very large. It makes you wonder how on earth they got 4 of them, I think it is, into that container. Okay, and then with them all in, we can take the legs off. So we'll just pretend those have been withdrawn. Leap of imagination. I think this is better than gluing them on. Okay, that one was a bit tight. Okay, when we shut the door, and we can sit on down. Okay, so if you've enjoyed that, please please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. And we will have some more Captain Scarlet and Thunderbirds related stuff coming along. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and bye.